When I say you, the margin for being a head coach is so fine with certain players, it is real. And if you lose a locker room, you lost a locker
room. Family, welcome back to the Shadow League Locker Room, and we're diving into the Super Bowl. Officiating conspiracy theories, DeAndre Hopkins had a powerful message to young kids, and Lamar Jackson's historic season, and whether Travis Hunter should really be trying to play both ways in the NFL. And of course, we got to talk about Luka Doncic. Back with me today, Vanderbilt standout and former NFL defensive end, Stephen Weatherly. Stephen, what's good, bro?
I'm doing good. Packing up now, trying to head down to New Orleans, get me some beignets. So,
okay, the Big
yeah.
Easy. You ready, right?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm excited to get down there. I got a couple of college teammates playing in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Got Kari Blasingame from Vandy and Oren Burks also from Vandy. But Oren's in the second Super Bowl because he was with San Fran last year.
Yeah.
When they went.
Yeah.
And he came in when Greenlaw tore his Achilles jumping on the sideline.
Okay.
So now he's out there balling for the Eagles. And so I'm excited to see him actually get one this year.
That'd be good. That'd be good. Y'all had an interesting season at Vandy as well, man. Had an interesting season at Vanderbilt. I was like, okay, Vandy's gonna show up and show out a little bit, right?
Finishing 25, something that hasn't been done since, I want to say, since I was there. And we beat Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee the same year. Indeed. But them boys beating Bama, winning Game of the Year, Clark Lee winning Coach of the Year. It was a very good back to the, you can get both. An outstanding education and beat up on the people who will bag your groceries in the future. So.
Talk that talk, though, Steven. I hear you, bruh. That's what's up, man. Congrats. It should be a lot of fun, man. We might as well jump into it, man. So let's talk about it. With the Super Bowl on the way, this controversy, the officiating, people have been saying that these crews are colluding to help Kansas City, man. Do you think that this narrative about the refs favoring KC is actually going to impact how the Super Bowl is officiated and the outcome, or what?
For me, I've looked at it, and I love conspiracy theories, but for this, we can just lean on the numbers. Someone did it. The number of calls for Kansas City and against Kansas City in the playoffs is staggering. And so they get way more calls than they get called against them. And that's against every other team in the playoffs during this run. So what people are seeing is just them putting the numbers together, and that is something that's going to be interesting. Does it have an effect in the actual big game? It doesn't. So the last couple of years when they've been getting these suspicious calls in the run up to it, it's like, But in the game itself, they always come out. They come out strong, firing on top, and they don't need those calls when it's close. So to that, this is the third time it's happened. If I was the Eagles, I would say, listen, their immunity cape comes off in the Super Bowl. So if you go in thinking the refs are going to save them, that's the wrong mindset. Now it's open. The refs haven't helped them in the big game. It's all the games leading up to it.
Right.
So go out there and ball.
Man, come on, Steven. Use that Vanderbilt education, man.
You see the numbers.
Right. Come on,
numbers don't lie.
Now, why do you think that fans push this so hard? Because fans are having a field day with this, man, when you look on the blogs.
Because they see it. And like, intuition is nothing but your brain is picking up a lot of information. You don't realize it's picking up a lot of information. Right. And when you can categorize in the front, you're like, oh, I see that pattern. When you don't recognize the pattern in your front of your brain, but the back does, it's intuition. We see the number of calls against teams, like against teams playing against Kansas City.
Yeah.
And we don't see Kansas City getting flagged much, but we can't see the correlation. So we see it. We're experiencing it at the really inopportune times. And then when it comes to justifications, they're a little bit lackluster. Yeah. So, we the fans are going to lean into it. You know what doesn't help?
What?
That NBA referee documentary, right? Everyone back then thought the refs were kind of slick, but no one could prove it because everyone was just a conspiracy theory. 20 years later, the docuseries comes out. It was 5 or 6 of them. So we'll see what happens in 25 years.
We'll see what happens right here, man. Listen, DeAndre Hopkins has been trending as well, man. One of the things I saw, he said he's going to wear his father's mink coat, I believe, to the Super Bowl, and that was kind of interesting. But he also spoke about kids growing up in small towns, single-parent homes, and violent environments, right? Telling them to never give up, and he was one of those kids, and now he's playing in the Super Bowl. So what's your take when you look at DeAndre Hopkins and his career?
I appreciate. I know very little. I knew he was a great athlete, but I did not know much about his personal story until he was about to leave. Where was he with at the first time? The Cardinals.
Was he with the Cardinals?
Who was he with before he went to Tennessee?
Ah,
No, Texans. The Texans.
yeah,
When he
Houston.
was
He was
with the
with
Texans,
Houston.
and he
Yes, he
left,
was
and
with
that's when I
Houston.
learned about his mother
His
being blind.
mother has got a. That's a crazy story.
And so once I learned that story and how she lost her vision and everything that went into it, I was like, wow, this is a strong dude. And
Yeah,
so to that message, I can say a lot of kids from dealing with my foundation, kids from violent homes are often told they are going to repeat certain patterns or that they're destined to repeat some type of doomsday scenario. And that's a lot to put on a kid. To see someone who has been in a situation similar, if not worse than theirs, get to the highest point within their field, that's motivational. And
yeah,
so I appreciate D Hop acknowledging where he's from and where he's going and using his life as a message for those younger generations. And so I appreciate him for doing that because it's true. Often those kids hear that, yo, you're going to be destined to either repeat those cycles or perpetuate in some degree. And D Hop is saying, nah, you don't have to. You can actually just go be the best you can at whatever you want to be. Look at me in football. So
yeah.
I commend him for that.
Absolutely. Now, for yourself, did you have anybody that inspired you by their particular story?
Um, as a player, no, 'cause I was a huge nerd, right? I was
Mhm.
watching Discovery Channel and Animal Planet growing up. But as a man, once I got in the space,
Yeah,
I had really great players and coaches who just how they lived and as they were a professional, like that's what inspired me to do better. Like I can put my pettiness aside, I can put my selfish goals to the side for the betterment of the team. So I've definitely had players like that in my position group,
yeah,
like uh I had Everson Griffin and Brian Robinson at Minnesota, right? And so just having those two guys, different types of leaders, but at the same time, very passionate about what we were doing. Um, yeah, those two guys I would say were big one and two in regards to how I became or how I walked my walk as a professional in the league for
yeah,
sure.
no doubt. Man, let's talk about Lamar Jackson, man. He's had an epic career thus far, season. He's been crowned NFL MVP once again by the Pro Football Writers of America, which is the third time in his career, and he became the first QB in history to surpass 4,000 passing yards and 800 rushing yards in a season. Um, when you think about this, I heard Cam Newton speaking about the individual accolades versus him winning a Super Bowl, and certainly Lamar hasn't quite done or gotten to the Super Bowl and won it yet. But what does this mean for Lamar's legacy? Especially since he still hasn't won the Super Bowl as of yet.
If you're going for legacy, like outward legacy, a lot of people aren't going to give you certain titles, badges, names until you achieve the granddaddy of them all, until you walk out with a Super Bowl,
Mm.
um, especially Super Bowl MVP. Like that would be the crown jewel of it all. But until then, if he continues to win two more MVPs, winning seasons all around, AFC playoffs, AFC divisional round, you get knocked off, AFC championship, you knocked off. Like that's the pinnacle of his career. Always at the doorstep, but never in the big dance. Then other people will always have something to say in regards to why he's not top quarterbacks of all time. But if you never want your name to be in that gray area of he's close, but he doesn't have then you got to do it,
Mm.
right? So how much do you care about your legacy, and how much do you want people to be playing with your name after the fact? Because you are that good, you are that magical, you are being recognized, you are setting records, and so that's check, check, check. In multi-time MVP, you just need that last one to make it solid,
Yeah.
solidify
Okay. Yeah, man. Where do you think he ranks? Just obviously we know what the writers have named him, but just
it.
in your personal opinion, when you look at him and his accomplishments right now among today's quarterbacks.
Amongst today's quarterbacks, I would put him at top three for sure. Um, because I like Hurts, Allen, and Lamar, right? Like I like those three quarterbacks more
Mm-hmm.
than anything else. Mahomes was notorious for a lot of impromptu plays and making things happen and making things shake, and that magical arm talent. But I think that was like he is a winning quarterback. Obviously, he's in the Super Bowl. But in regards to like when things are going wrong, like I can rely on these quarterbacks to make something happen. At the end of the day, it was I think of those three quarterbacks, and so that's a true testament to how he plays the game
Yeah,
and how he's able to improvise and make it happen when they're in a disadvantaged situation.
yeah. Great to
True.
see black quarterbacks in the conversation, indeed. Let's talk about Travis Hunter, man. He is getting ready to get ready for the NFL draft. And, of course, we know he's entering the NFL combine as a cornerback, and he still wants to play on both sides of the ball in the league. Do you think that that is smart for him? What is that like?
Uh, Yes, it is smart for him to do it, but will it happen? I don't think so. And not because I think he very much can do it. He has two huge factors to deal with, and they're both egos of two separate groups. The egos of the coaching staff and the egos of the veteran players. At Colorado, he had 2 to 3 days completely off. While a defensive lineman, was doing inside run, pass drills, all that stuff, banging pads, he was on the side with Normatex. Why? Because he went both ways, need to get his body right. You have to convince a professional coach and coaching staff to you're not practicing, but our 10-year vet is. You're not practicing, but our $100 million guy is. That coach has to be okay with explaining that to the team. Then he has to convince that old vet and that $100 million player that this rookie does need to sit down. And if I was the coach, I would draft him and say, listen, this is what I'm going to pitch. And now you need to show it in OTAs and training camp why you're taking those days off. So you need to ball and not just college ball. You got to lock down Justin Jefferson and then come over here and then score on the whole secondary, right? Once you show that, then you get the days off. But if he earns it, you got to give it to him because that's a weapon that no one can really account for. So I want him to, but the coaches have to be okay with giving him the time to recover his body. And the other veteran players there need to be okay with watching this young cat recover his body. Yeah. And if both parties can get involved, Travis Hunter can 100% do it. Yeah. And he won't be the last. Yeah. But people have to be okay with watching that.
Yeah. That's a necessary, unique perspective, man, and I appreciate that because
I see no vets being okay with that whatsoever.
Because people oftentimes forget about the vets and their vantage point on how they feel with the team dynamics, how that kicks in. Because people forget that, hey, man, the morale of the team.
I have seen a head coach lose his team because he has made one decision and came in too hard on something. And I've also seen a coach lose a team because he was too soft on something. When I say you, the margin for being a head coach is so fine with certain players, it is real. And if you lose a locker room, you lost a locker room.
Right. Okay. Tell me this, Stephen, what side of the ball do you think he'd be more successful
on? Well, here's the deal. If he can get to a point where he is used more like a Travis Kelce style of athlete, where it's just go out there and get open, can no one stick with him? I think he would be an amazing cornerstone to a defensive secondary, given his athleticism and who has quite literally trained him and coached him up to give him the eye. I've seen him play. One of his very good picks he was playing boundary corner, and one route went deep and another one came to the flat. Some guys turn and run, you throw it short. If you stay with your shoulders facing the line of scrimmage, they throw it deep. He got his butt to the sideline, opened up his shoulders, and was able to play high to low. I watched Zim, our defensive coordinator at Minnesota, struggle to get a third-year player to understand that concept, to play high-low, to get his butt to the sideline, to break when he sees the tilt of the quarterback's shoulders. Dion has already instilled that in him. So he has the technique and the mental awareness to do it. So I think he can fit in day one on the defensive side. Now, on offense, it's about him executing the routes, getting crispy, creating separation. But if you allow him to kind of do it in his own way, which is the offensive coordinator and quarterback being on the same page with letting him do that, I don't think people can stick with him. So he can have an initial, like a good impact on defense day one. Offense, I think, is going to take a hot second.
Okay. Let's jump into this fair or foul segment. Of course, you already know what it is. If you, agree, fair. If not, you're going to tell us why it's foul. Luka Doncic, trade rumors, man. The Mavericks trading Luka, man, to the Lakers. Was that a smart move for Dallas? Fair or foul?
Fair. What they got AD out of it. Their reasoning, I think is poor. Um, but yeah, I think the Lakers came out on top
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay.
They're gonna have a strong 1-2 combination until Bron's done, aka Bryce is in the league, and then now it's Luca and the Lakers, and
Right.
like that LL thing is kind of cool. So I understand the move from the Lakers organization.
Right.
I know that Dallas is pissed right now.
Yeah. The city is on fire.
Cuban's got some answers. He got some questions to answer, but
Yeah.
I think the Lakers came out on top.
They say Luck
100.
isn't the majority owner anymore the way he once was. So
Oh, never mind. He ain't got to answer nothing.
yeah, I think this was a big move, man, just across the board. But no, I definitely get it. Let's talk about Miles Garrett, man, and these Browns, man. He wants out, right? He wants out of Cleveland. But we need you, Miles. But the Browns say they're not trading him. All right. So is it fair or foul for them to hold on to a player of his caliber when he wants out?
Foul. I think it's 100% foul. I'm a players guy. Um, like like Miles even said, we want volunteers, not prisoners. 2 years ago, when I was there, I mean not 2 years ago, in 2022 when I was there, that's when he said that, and it's true. My man is a hard worker, comes in ready and disciplined, and he looks at everyone else like, let's get it going, like let's move, like
Yeah.
we are on our way to do something great. And when other people aren't on board, he's like, let's get on board. And so he gave you ample opportunities to surround him with those pieces, and nothing has come to fruition. And it's cool. He's now at the time where he's like, I need to win. I need to do it. I don't think it's gonna happen here. You say, thank you, Miles, for those good years. You put up great numbers. You really did it for us. Let's try to get some valuable pieces and let's try to put you in a great place.
Yeah.
I would not come out and say you ain't going nowhere, so you might as well strap up for the next 4 years. Now you got a disgruntled worker, and that's not going to end well for anybody.
Yeah.
Because I think he can hold out
Yeah.
and still be Miles Garrett in 2 years.
Yeah. He's incredible out there, man. Travis Kelce. All right. He's hinted that he might retire if Andy Reid steps away. Is it fair or foul for a player's career decision to be tied to a particular coach?
100% fair. That same way how it takes a lot to win over a coach and your players. When you have that connection and your coach understands you, it's beautiful. It's like you can come out, you see him in the morning, and it's midway through the season, and your knees are kind of sore, and you just give him that look, and he's like, "Give me to an individual, and you good."
Understand?
We get a new coach, I have to earn all that back again. Which is what you have to do. You have to go out there and earn the luxuries of not practicing on Thursday.
Yeah.
You have to earn the luxuries of being able to rest on certain days because you are that guy. And when you're older, you have to show that. You looking like, man, what?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And so I've done it all, won it all, got some accolades, got my life in order after the field. I'm like, let me get one more and slide.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Man, look, Steven, always a pleasure. Always great perspective. I know you headed down to NO. Hey, man, enjoy yourself out there. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I look forward to hearing a lot when you get back as well. Tell everybody how they can keep up with you.
Yeah, no, I'm still on Instagram at Steven_Weatherly on Instagram. And then the SW Foundation. We're also doing some more work trying to get out there and get involved. So if you know any neighborhoods or communities that can use reading programs or connection to math and science courses for middle schoolers, or if you know any young artists out there that want to cultivate and become the next generation, we want to help foster all that kind of mindset and help give them the tools to be empowered to go chase those dreams unapologetically and in a considerate way. So that's what we're doing with the foundation. So if you know anything that can benefit from that, just hit me up.
Thank you, brother.